All right, guys. So this is just a quick debrief, video debrief, looking at the order flow. We'll have a look at some ladders and look at the footprints on yesterday's open. It was an easier one to trade. You had to have a plan. So let's just have a look at what's been going on. So Monday overnight session, we just had a big gap, and we've managed to hold. This is Monday's session. Monday's session was quite balanced. But we managed to hold above the prior session mid, the overnight mid, and we'd again overnight we'd just basically broken above, again left this little tail into CPI. This was extended even further higher after the CPI release up into 86. I think this HVN here, it's marked out here quite clearly, but basically we stopped up and we came back down inside. And the area that we were I was kind of interested in, given my prep was I wanted to be bullish above 55. Why 55? Well, it was kind of the prior session's POC. So I wanted to be, as long as I was above POC, I knew I was pretty safe in looking for longs. But the trade idea was basically for a look back into the prior session's settlement. So this is the settlement here, up at 64. So as long as we're above that POC that I'm kind of circulating there, 55, I want to be looking for continuation long. This is like a really crazy one-time framing higher on the daily. It's like a steam train. Nothing's going to get in the way of it. But the plan was, can we look for a continuation? And one of the first places I want to look for that is going to be the settlement. And there it is. I'm looking at 58.64. So we're going to have a look at what happened quickly. So again, this is the overnight session. You can see an extension to the upside. It actually extended even higher into CPI. But the area that we're really looking for was whether or not we could hold that settlement, which closed right at the highs. When you have a close at the high, that is not a tail high, that is just a spike. It needs to be confirmed for it to be a tail. So that is not a tail, that's just an unfinished auction to the upside. So whether or not, it didn't really look that buyers were finished, and we wanted to see whether or not we could get that confirmation off the open, and that would be really just if we just basically touched into the price where they were buying into the close, and then continued higher. So I've done a little diagram annotation, and you can see, look, there's your CPI. So CPI extended higher, and basically everyone's looking at that as a tail, but it's not a tail. We're looking for the RTH to hold. So we opened up around about 68, and then we dropped down to the tick almost of the prior settlement, 64s. There's the low of yesterday's session, looking at on the market profile, expanded, and then we basically just had this crazy driving bid, which, yeah, nobody knows that's going to happen, but that was just insane. There wasn't really much of a pullback either for the whole session. We ended up with this P distribution, and overnight today we've stayed inside this upper distribution from yesterday, above mid noticeably. Okay, also notice again yesterday's session, yesterday's overnight session was holding at the mid. So this is something that is a bit of a pattern. I was looking for it today, looking for longs around that 96 area for continuation higher. Anyway, let's have a look at the open. Let's have a look at what happened. Let's just also have a look at the footprints. So this is the footprint. This is the CPI spike. There's the low of the CPI. Going into the opens, I always like to look at the pre-market swing high and swing low. There's the swing low. There's the swing high. So the area that we're really interested in is this red line here, which was on there from yesterday, of course. And that is the price settlement. I'm looking to see it test into that settlement and for us to find buyers and then continue higher. And that's exactly what we did. And look at the delta Delta just really steps in on that,
on the
you know,
ways and
settlement
means
price.
over in the
A
US.
little bit of a
While they
taper at
have
the bottom,
approved the tax bill, voting
you know,
26 to
and it just
19,
continued, and there was
the
just
big
no looking
question
back
still
from
is the
this.
fact that
So let's just
SALT
have a look.
remains unresolved.
If you were to get into this trade here, where's your risk? Well, I'd like to place it around about, you know, the 61, the swing open low. You also got protection from this VWAP as well. That should offer some liquidity. But where's your target? Well, my initial target was to go and visit this area here, this poorly auction high. Could we get back in there? If that was to break, it could go much higher, and that's exactly what happened. So that's the footprint. Feel free to pause this and have a look at that footprint again. I'm going to hit play on this replay now. I've also put the NQ up to have a look. This is again the day in question. This is today's overnight session, but the trade that we're looking for. This is the overnight session. Okay, we've got this CPI high, and that is the settlement price that we're looking for it to test down from 68 down into. You can see this big purple line. It's marked out on my profiles, and then it just climbs. Okay, let's hit play and see what happens and how it trades. Okay, I'm going to speed this up just a tad, and then pause it when I need to. Happens pretty quickly, actually. So it looks at that, you know, on first thoughts, you know, just looking at that just blindly, you're thinking, oh, do you know what? That CPI looks like a rejection high. Oh, I've gone a bit too quick. Let's slow it down now. Right, we're just testing those 64s the first time. Slow it down a little bit. But what I want to look at is I just want to see how Delta is moving. And we want to keep an eye on the NASDAQ as well. So we're coming back down into those lows. Settlement's at 64-ish. It's pushing, it's pushing, it's pushing. Keep your eye on the Delta. Looks like some profit taking. Okay. This is the area in question now. Look at the Delta now starting to turn around. Stab, stab, stab. Looking for buys here. Looking for buys here. You can see volume building here. Building these lows, but those 3.5s, they're holding or starting to hold. Just keep your eye on the Delta. Buyers are becoming the aggressors. So what you really want to see is you want to see we want to see a push away from here. You want to get above this little lower volume node. There it is. It's just tested, comes back. Look at the Delta. Another push above. That LVN got filled up. Come back down, but keep finding buys. There's another push back above those 66s. That area now is going to act as a support if it gets retested. But you see back into 66s. I don't remember this. Comes back, retests. But that settlement held pretty much to the tick. And then we steadily start to climb. That wasn't as easy as I remember it yesterday, I have to say. I don't remember that second pushback. I must have been distracted. Happened quite quickly as well. But you saw that low held really cleanly. Seeing some resistance. but crucially now starting to hold above yesterday's high, which was that 66 area there. And Nasdaq's gone off screen. Anyway, it's always good, I think, to have a look again and again and again at these replays. You know, what could you have done? How could you have traded it? But these turning points in the day, really worth just doing a video replay and checking things out so that you could better be prepared for next time. But the trade in this case was the look back into the price settlement, which was 64, which held pretty cleanly. After that, then you just want to look back at your notes, your premeditated strategy, right? Get long, where's your target? Right, there are your targets, and then you just want to see it sort of progress higher, which it did really, really quickly and quite cleanly.
Spot gold falls 1%.
Okay, that's pretty much
Gold
the video
1% to around
that I wanted to do.
$14.66 an ounce.
Hope you found that useful. And see you next time.